Okay, in this series, we're going to talk about baseline grid, working with glyphs, and understanding leading. All right, in this particular layout, you're looking at three columns of text, and of course, it's that placeholder text. But if you look at it, you can see that from column to column, the lines are not aligned. So this first installment is going to be baseline grid. Now, what baseline grid is something that is and it's not. And basically, as you can see, we have this leading is setting right now. It's setting on, let's see, we have it setting on, it's 12-point type, as you can see up here in the control panel, on 14.4 points of lead. All right, but as you can see, it's not aligning across all three columns. So here's how we're going to solve that problem. All right, what you want to do is you have the frame selected that you want to make the adjustment. You're going to go up to, you're going to type, you're going to drop down to paragraph, all right, and then you're going to notice down here in the lower right hand corner, you have these two little these icons. One that says do not align to baseline grid, and this one says align to baseline grid. So let's click on that and see what happens. So now that we've clicked on that, as you can see, everything aligns. If I were to pull this guideline, you'll see everything aligns, and it aligns to an invisible grid. Well, let's take a look at that grid. We're going to go up to View, drop down to where it says Grids and Guides, and then we're going to slide over to where it says Show Baseline Grid. And as you can see, here is our baseline grid. Now, here's the good news. As you can see right now, it looks pretty strange. Everything is spread out. So let's see. The good news is that you can adjust this. So let's go to, we're going to go up to InDesign, drop down to Preferences, slide up to where it says Grids, and as you can see right here, the increment that the grid is based on is at 12 points. Well, you know what? Let's change that to 9 points and let's see what happens. So as you can see, when the value is reduced, now the grid, now the text looks more readable, more legible, and it's all aligned. All right, so you are never at a place where you have to accept whatever comes up. You can change the value by going into Preference and then changing what the increments are going to be. All right, so that is a basic overview of your baseline grid. Next up, we're going to talk about working with glyphs. Working with glyphs. Now, glyphs are basically they're alternate characters. All right, and this is something that you guys should really play with in order to really get the full impact and how it can basically positively impact your designs. So what I'm going to do is I have two frames here. I have one frame, and I'm using a script font, and the font is called Bickham. You can see this is Bickham script, and then of course this is typically the default, which is Myriad Pro. Well, let's have fun here. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to start with the fractions where it says Myriad Pro. All right. So let's say, for example, if we were going to put in fractions, right now you would put in, let's say, if you wanted to put in a half, you would say 1/2. All right. But let's say we wanted to do something more dynamic. We wanted to have, an actual 1, then a slash, and then 2, and 1 would be small, and then the 2 would be small, like we would typically write fractions. Well, instead of doing something like this, where you have 1/2, I'm just going to delete that, we can actually put in a fraction. And that happens where our glyphs are located. So right now, we have our cursor here right after the word fractions. We're going to go up to Type. We're going to drop down to it says Glyphs. And what we're going to do is, you're going to notice that whenever you have a font selected, you'll see the font here. All right, so you can see Myriad Pro is here, and this shows you all of the different fonts hidden and the fonts that you can parts of the font that you can view. Listed, everything is right here. So let's say, for example, usually at the top you see these are all of the characters that are visible, but then as we scroll down, you can see there's some fonts here that are not part of the keyboard that are hidden or invisible. So here we can see a quarter. Type on that, you click on that, and we can even add a half, and we can add in 3/4. And these are our standard glyph sets. So let's say, for example, you can notice, if you notice through here, you'll see there's various accents like the umlaut and let's say the umlaut is the double dots that goes over the letter U. Let's see, you also see the accents as well. So that's where your glyphs come in. But there's something else you can do with glyphs, and that is this. So as you can see, this is Myriad Pro. Once I click here, okay, I'm in Bickham. So now here in this dialog box, I'm looking at all the different, visible and hidden characters. And of course, the hidden characters are your glyphs. So what I want to do now is I want to have some fun with this. And this is why I'm encouraging you guys to have fun. And usually with script fonts, you can do some really crazy stuff because the glyphs that come packaged with these script fonts are pretty extraordinary. So let's say, for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over, get this out the way. I'm going to select the M in Mr. All right, and at this point now, I'm going to just move this up so you can see it. Instead of using the Bickham, this is the Bickham regular, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll and see if I can find, let's see if I can find some other options for Bickham. And well, I don't see it here, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up to the typeface right here, and I'm going to see if I can find some other options as well. Let me see. I'm clicking on this. I'm clicking on this. Let's come back here. You say Bickham, and let's see, Bickham. We're going to scroll down. A B C. Let's see. It should have been up at the top, but that's okay. We're going to come down to where it says Bickham Swash Capitals. I'm going to click on that. All right. And as you can see, here are the capitals. And look at that. I was able to put in this really fancy looking M right here. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cursor behind the letter N, and I'm going to find something else. Let's see. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to see if I can find some more options. Yes. Bickham script endings. All right, so let's say, for example, I have my cursor behind the N, and I'm going to click on this little thing right here, and wow, look at that. I was able to add that little swirly thing. So now let me click off so you take a look at this. And basically what I did was I took, a basic font, and I was able to add a very special glyph at the front and a very special glyph at the back. So you can see this is how you can actually work with glyphs. Let's talk about leading. All right, now, as you can see, we have this generic text right here. All right, and I put two guidelines between the two lines there so you can actually see what the leading is. And what leading is, it's the value, some people call it line spacing, but it's called leading in our business. And it's the value between baseline to baseline. So I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see this. All right. So if you notice here, I have this guideline right here, this guideline right here, all right, and it is the value between baseline to baseline, all right, and typically the value of your leading is an additional 20%, of the size of the font. For example, we're looking at Myriad Pro. It's sitting at 12 points on 14.4 points of lead. So you might say, well, Mr. Duran, how do you know that that's 20%? Well, okay, let's test it and see. I'm going to select this text right here. I'm going to change the font size to 10. And once I change it to 10, you're going to notice that the leading changes to 12. And that is 20% more than 10. All right, so basically, and if I was to make that 20 point size, that is, then of course our leading value is 24. All righty, so what I want to do right now is I'm going to bring it back to 12 point, all right, where we were. And as you can see, that is our default. So here's how you can change your leading. Here's a way, you can just highlight the value that's there. And in this case, I'm going to make that 18 points of lead. So now I have this 18 points of lead, all right, it's opened up to 18 points of lead. But let's say I want to bring it back to the default, and I can't remember what the 20% value is of 12. Well, there's a very easy way that InDesign has allowed you to do this. You can do a Command A, select the whole body of text, and if you're not sure what the default value is, you can type in the word auto. All right, once you type in the word auto, it'll bring it right back to the 20% value. All right, so that's how you can bring it back. And then another feature that you have here in InDesign is something that we call our secondary lead, all right, or your space after value. Now I have my hidden characters visible, so you can see in this particular body of text there are, I think, about roughly 4 paragraphs. Well, we're going to do a Command A. We select all the text. We're going to go up to Type, drop down to Paragraph, and when I say your secondary lead, that's your space after value. So right now I'm just going to highlight that. I'm going to type in the number 1, which is going to be 1 pica understood, or 12 points. All right, and as you can see, this is the extra spacing between between the paragraphs. So that's how you can basically control the leading and your space after values.